vDefend Security Services Platform, or SSP, is the new platform used to run vDefend advanced security services such as security intelligence, malware prevention, threat detection and response, network traffic analysis, and metrics. Deploying SSP is a straightforward process. Select a management cluster and deploy the SSP Installer OVA. Select your data center. Choose the cluster where you want to deploy the SSP Installer. Review the details. Select the storage to be used. Select the port group to connect the SSPI to. Customize the template by providing some passwords such as the group, root admin, and audit users. Enter the FQDN of SSPI, an IP address, a net mask, and the default gateway. Enter a list of DNS servers and the domain search lists. Finally, set the NTP server and enable SSH if you need a CLI access for advanced troubleshooting. Wait for a few seconds for the SSPI OVA to be deployed. Once deployed, wait again for a few seconds for the SSPI VM to be fully booted and ready. Open a browser and access the SSPI UI using the FQDN specified during the deployment. Use the user admin and the password set during the OVA deployment. SSPI requires a SSP package to be uploaded. Click on Upload, select a file locally or using a remote URL. Wait for SSPI to process the SSP bundle. Once the bundle is fully uploaded and processed, you can click on Get Started. Give the SSP instance a name. Select a version. The versions depend on the SSP bundle that have been uploaded in the previous step. Select a deployment type. Select Advanced for any production-grade deployment. Evaluation requires less resources but has limited scope and retention. Please note that evaluation can't be upgraded to Advanced. Enter two FQDNs. The first one will be used to access the SSPI UI, and the second one will be used by NSX components to send flows to the platform. Finally, configure some passwords for the SSP audit and admin users. The next section focuses on vSphere resources. Click Connect to vCenter and provide the FQDN or the IP address of the vCenter, followed by the username, password, and certificate. Once connected, select the data center and the cluster to use for deploying the SSP VMs. Select a storage policy for these VMs and the storage used by the SSP content library. Select a resource pool if any. Please note that DRS is a requirement and that child resource pools will be created. For a production deployment, make sure that the Reserve Resource checkbox is enabled. Not enabling resource reservation can impact the performance of the platform, its availability and stability. The next section is about networking. Select the distributed switch and the distributed port group used for the SSP VMs deployment. Specify the subnet of this network and the default gateway. Two IP pools are required. The node IP pool is used to allocate some IP addresses to SSP VMs, whereas the service IP pool is used to allocate virtual IPs to SSP services. Please note that these two IP pools must not overlap and must be part of the subnet that has been specified in the previous step. Finally, configure the NTP and DNS servers and enter a search domain. Once completed, click on Save Config and Run Pre-Check to start a bunch of tests. SSPI is deploying a temporary VM to do some network connectivity checks and will delete this VM once completed. Review any warning or error displayed during this pre-check step. Once all tests are completed without any error, click on Start Deployment. Wait for the deployment to proceed and click Done. This is a best practice to back up your SSPI configuration. Enter the SFTP server details by specifying the server IP, the directory path, the credentials, including the SSH public key, and the backup password. Start the backup by clicking on Backup and wait a few seconds until the backup is completed. You can now access the new SSP UI by going to Instance Management and clicking on SSP FQDN link. Log in to SSP using the credentials that you have chosen. The latest step is to onboard your NSX Manager to SSP. Just give the NSX FQDN or IP address, the username, the password and the certificate, and click Next. Give the NSX Manager a name and click Onboard. Wait for a few seconds for the NSX to be fully onboarded and refresh the browser page. This is also a best practice to back up your SSP configuration. Enter the SFTP server details by specifying the server IP, the directory path, the credentials, including the SSH public key and the backup password. Start the backup by clicking on Backup and wait a few seconds until the backup is completed. vDefend Security Services platform is now fully functional and ready to run any vDefend Advanced Security service.